Hello guys, so this is Rewell of Re-Reviews doing another unboxing, impressions and review of DX20 Ahsoka Tano. This is a DX man, so I'm really excited. This is Ahsoka Tano as played by Rosario Dawson in the season 2 of The Mandalorian, and after getting Disney Plus here in the Philippines, I just realized how awesome Mandalorian is. So it's kind of funny, but that having that service into my country is what led to my Mandalorian shelf, man. You can see it all the way there. I'm starting to build it. There are some characters who are sort of, well, let me get out my phones. Who are out of it because Princess Leia is there and Luke, Return of the Jedi, is there. But you know what? I'm so excited for this. I love the DX figures. So taking off the slipcover box, and it's a beautiful art of Ahsoka Tano in her, I forgot the world. Don't worry, I'll post it later. So DX20. So I got the simpler, less stuff DX20 because I don't have space anymore to display the diorama. I just want the character on this one. And again, it slips out. So it's an art within an art. This is really weird, man. This is sort of weird. Check it out. Okay, so this, she's slightly in an angle here, and this is a full front view, and both pictures, are sort of the figure. So okay, let us see what is inside. Still love this, thick, and oh, it's upside down. Okay, so this must have been opened. Again, I got this from one of the fastest guys who can get hot toys here in the Philippines, Carlo Wong. Shout out to you. Thank you for, making these things fast. And I got her for a grand total of 17,000 pesos. You will see the dollar equivalent to that. As to whether it's expensive or not, time will tell, man. Time will tell. So up her in this beautiful, in her coffin. This is what I call is Ahsoka Tano, and just like a DX, it's featured like this. So let's slip it out, and there seems to be some, what is this, dog hair or something? Seems to be like some fiber of some sort. So it is very simple, unlike the other DXs you might have seen with the extra head sculpts and all. This one has the silica gel and a bunch of left hands. no, left and right hands rather. But there's only 3 of them, so it's a bit weird. But let's continue on, see the next tray. And the second and final tray is, apart from the instructions, but I doubt that we would need that. Just her cloak and her base. So her cloak, her lantern, the swooshing lightsaber effects, double lightsabers, and a very simple base, and the tool for the eye movement system. So let us take a look at the, oh, and there's a diorama too, okay, which we will take a look later. So let us examine the character. Very surprising light outing for a DX figure. I mean, I did get the Michael Jackson DX, and that was very light, but I don't know. At least that one has more hands. This one has a bit more accessories. So let us clear out the plastic first and take a good look at her. So out of the box, it is a very beautiful figure. The likeness of Ahsoka Tano is there. I mean, there's been people arguing that she doesn't really look like Rosario Dawson, but I beg to disagree. I mean, regardless of that, she really looks like Ahsoka Tano, man. I like this iteration of an older, more mature Ahsoka Tano than the Clone Wars one, so this is my thing. I also like the color of the skin. I mean, my lights are a bit yellow now, but they really nailed the color of the skin. It is so beautiful, and it's quite a hefty figure. It feels like it's in a Phison body type, which of course it's not, but the feel is the same. It feels very solid, and the skin texture is a bit spongy with some I think it feels like a metal frame inside. So the hair texture is plastic, it's not styrofoam or anything. It feels really, really solid and really, really hefty. So I don't know how to take it off to articulate the eyes, but we will read the instructions on that later. So as it stands, I am really liking it. I mean, plus the fact that you can move the eyes to give her different expressions, which we will try a bit, okay? Let's try it a bit. So to remove the hair, you simply just take this off the head sculpt and just pull it out for that to be easier. And then I think you can really put it back in like this, and let's articulate the eyes for some expressions. So I set the eyes position, and it's hard to put the headpiece back, so I had to take it out again just so I can slip it in more comfortably. So let's see what the final expression looks like. So here's her looking to the side, which I really like, because the problem with most female Hot Toys figures is that they look doe-eyed and shocked, like they're looking on headlights. A good example is that Princess Leia behind there. If you see my old review, that's what I think of most female Hot Toys figures. But having articulated eyes, you have the choice to make them not look doe-eyed or shocked or like in trance or something. So this is amazing, just because I don't see. This is actually my first female figure with articulated eyes, so that is very cool. I'm going to take out everything. Okay, let's lay it out in here and see what's up. So everything is out. So we have first is her cloak. I like the cloth. I like how it feels. And the attachment system I can see would be problematic as the years go by, because it's a typical. This attachment system has been used for years. I hope the camera would focus on it. This one, yeah, this will break if you put it, if you keep on messing with it. Over the years, the plastic is gonna go soft and it's gonna break. So at least it's hidden. You can put a pin on that someday. It will break for sure, especially if you keep on posing her with and without the cloak. And then very, very few array of hands. Basically, she has the open hands that she comes with, half open hands, the lantern holding hands, and no, actually, you don't even get the lantern holding hands. You have closed fists, which is only one piece, and you get two lantern holding hands or blade holding hands. So that is ultra light, ultra surprising, because DX figures are supposed to be DX, but this does not feel like a DX outing because you already are looking at everything that comes with her. Okay, so here's her smaller saber, and here's the longer saber. And another cool thing, different thing I mean, is the waist clamp. They're going back to the old school, so I love that. Haven't seen this in new figures for a very long time. And the nameplate, they put it in this pseudo sea of water, so that's supposed to be sea of water or a river. So I'm glad that they're doing that. It's the way you put it on is kind of clumsy though, because you just sort of slip it on here. You sort of just slip it on here, and that's how it works, you know. So it doesn't lock securely or anything. I think also that this part here actually could have a nameplate, but you know, this doesn't seem removable, man. If you look at it, looking at this, it doesn't seem removable. So you can't stick a nameplate here, so it's basically supposed to be displayed like that. Okay, so basically a big part of the price you're paying here is that it's just a very good figure. It has a weight to it, meaning it has a steel. She has a steel endoskeleton. The eye movement system is everything. It gives her more character. Her body proportions are excellent. Very nice anatomy, very muscular, female figure. I wish they did more definitions on her back, because in the show her back really was ripped, man. She had like muscle striations and stuff. So they opted not to do that. And yeah, the saber can be hung here. She has a place to hang her saber. With this belt. So it comes pretty off like a normal Star Wars figure. There it's really nothing big aside from the from the improved technology, skeleton and all, and the really nice waist clamp, you know. So a big part of why this is a DX is because of its posability. But then again, the accessories are sacrificed in exchange for that. So that feels a bit bad. So let's get her into some poses, okay? Let's do some lightsaber poses with her. Okay, one thing to note. This lightsaber comes pre-attached with these little tabs going on. So it attaches like that, and it's a bit hard to take off. I mean, you need to spin it a bit, and don't lose these ends, okay? So that is something new. The older the ones I had were harder to lose. This one is so easy to lose. So just be careful of that. So right off the bat, we have her in an action swinging pose where she's swinging the lightsabers. And first, obstacle I got into was that you can only move her head to a certain degree or extent, because the sculpted hair is just a solid piece of plastic that there's just no way to get over it. So you will run into that limitation, especially if you're trying to make her look extremely to the left or right. So other than that, I decided to use the backdrop, which I like the material. It's a thicker piece of cardboard than the non-DX older ones. But the problem I ran into was that I find it too small, and the print was too low reso. It's so super low resolution. I think this is the temple in which they dueled with I forgot the name, the character, where Mando got the Beskar spear. I think this was it. And it's just very low reso. I usually use this for the most part, but I think I'm gonna skip on this. It's just not good. Doesn't even fit the height of the character. So I think they did this to fit the detolfs, but it's just not looking good, man. Plus it stands. It doesn't have a stand anyway. It's just a straight piece of thick cardboard. So, it stands though. That's what's impressive about it, is that it stands despite that. So the swooshing effect, this longer one, is heavy. So I was a bit surprised and taken aback by that. But I figure she can hold it. So that's all good. So posing her is very easy. You might have to work with the endoskeleton a bit, but I find it that she goes where I want her to go, except for the head. Without the problems dealing with the head, I mean, she would have been very, very posable. But it's only the head that's keeping me from making her pose so much. So this version also does not come with a Grogu, which I appreciate, because I have as much Grogu as it is, and I can always just put him there whenever I need him. So there's that. So Grogu, you can army build a Grogu with how much they're including him in most DX packages. So Let's put her in a more neutral pose with a cloak, and let's see how that goes. So, okay, one thing to note about this is that you might not need to unclasp the cloak after all, because as the instructions said, you have to take off her head sculpt first before you lay her hair, which sits weirdly in the cloak, okay? So it sits outside her both her ponytail and side hair, and then you stick it in the cloak. So with the hood down, it looks like this. So it attaches rather weird. But with the cloak up, so a big part of my time was taken away with how to position her hair in her cloak. So I did not expect that because her hair and her cloak has a weird relationship, man. It actually is the hardest cloak to put on because of that. And I still haven't have it perfect. See, it floats weird. So I've done it wrong. So I'm gonna do it again. So after a long while of finagling her cloak, I didn't expect it to be this hard, but it's so hard to get her cloak to just sit right, man. I had great difficulty. It's a wired cloak, so you better put it in some weird angles and such, so it's gonna hold. So I also repositioned her eyes. In this camera angle, it looks bad, but in real life, it looks a lot better. So this is her posing with, and I also like the new Hot Toys technology. By the way, I mean the old Hot Toys technology, because see, there is no cape hump compared to say you're posing a Doctor Strange figure, where the flight stand would just make the cloak look like it's doing like this. So you don't have to mess with that. It sits flat because of the nice stand. So I'm glad Hot Toys is paying more attention to things like that. So this is her more neutral, non-combat look, I guess. I mean, at least what I can come up with, because a big part of the time I spent was getting her hood to sit right. And it still doesn't sit right for me. So that was sort of a bummer. You really have to work with her hair. See, I want it closer. I don't want her chest exposed. Like it would be as close as possible. So a big deal, but I want her hands to come out. So a big deal of your time would be used to reposition her eyes for those killer expressions, and to also reposition the cloak if you want her to have a neutral, non-combat look. So those are the things, the problems that I came up with. So other than that, I honestly don't think this figure is a DX, man. I mean, it says DX and all, but here's the thing. The slipcover of most DXs has a gimmick of some sort. The last one I opened was DX19 Batman, and that one had sort of a paracord shoot thing going on, something you can put on your sweater or your travel bag. And you know, most of the DX has like that in their slipcovers, but this one, there's nothing in it aside from this, which is, you know, all Hot Toys have an inner inlay. So, you know, it doesn't feel as special. It doesn't feel very creative. Okay, this looks like a better angle of her. So, but apart from that, apart from the lackluster accessories, the limited number of hands, the crappy backdrop that almost fell down, aside from that, you know, this figure still works. For the price I paid of 17,000, I can't help but it's too expensive. It just depends on how likable this character is. Because if it's just an average character with average interest, I'm thinking the price would fall down. And getting it around like 12,000 pesos would be very good, would be very fair. Because as I said, There's just not much anything in it, man. So as for me, I like my first representation of Rosario Dawson Ahsoka Tano because I'm not into the Clone Wars design at all. So I'm still happy with this. I'm happy with this. I hope it's gonna maintain its value though. You know, as a collector, I'd still appreciate that I'm not gonna. This is gonna be hitting 12,000 and lower someday. That would really suck for me personally, man. Because the Batman DX19, it reached that low. I got it for a low price. So this is most likely, depending upon its availability in the Philippines, it's gonna drop down. Other than that, it's a good figure. I like it. Expensive, limited in accessories, but still it works. It's a good figure. I'm happy with it. Happy with the character. Happy with how poseable it is. Because let's us take note. I forgot to emphasize that this is very, very beautiful to pose. A lot better than the traditional Hot Toys figures like the Mandalorian, or even my old Luke Skywalker, or even my Boba Fett arena suit, which you can see all below there behind her. They are all not as good to pose compared to this one. So my camera has died already. With that, tell you, have a nice day, guys.